I once used to report uh, to Satish when I was working with HP, and he was the floor manager then. And I came to know when I joined the floor that he was the most awarded manager in terms of his quarterly performance, his team's and floor's performance for the year, and so on. And this was not like once, it was for 2 to 3 consecutive years that Satish was awarded the best manager on the floor, irrespective of all the kind of work pressure that we had. So I had the privilege of working with him. So I literally asked one day, like, sir, if I may ask you, and we were in very good terms. I learned a lot. He taught me a lot, and I asked him, Satish, like, you've been awarded as the best manager consecutively for so many years. Any award that is, you know, for this floor, it's always that your name is included. Yet I see you the most relaxed, most fun loving, most interactive, most helpful, most playful manager on the floor. He used to love playing TT, uh, and he was pretty good in it. And he loved any kind of outdoor activity. He loved any kind of sports. Uh, he always accompanied team when they were going for a coffee break. And while honestly speaking, while there were other managers on the floor who were always found, their head sunk into a pile of uh, printouts, working ferociously on the keyboard and trying to be anything, everywhere. So Satish mentioned one very nice thing which I still remember, and I would like to share it with you. He said, Sanjay, the first thing and the only thing that you need in your life to be successful in whatever you do, irrespective of your designation, irrespective of your position whatsoever, is your capability of ending what you have started. Now this was pretty surprising thing, like, and I asked, like, Satish, but we all do complete the task after all, right? Then he said, Sanjay, completing a task, someday or other, will not yield the kind of result because you forget one thing. When there is a task, there is a time frame attached to it. There is an importance to it, and when you fail to deliver the result within that time frame, it becomes actually useless. It becomes actually meaningless. And what happens is, many a times we get into the dirty habit of procrastination. What we do is we always believe that we need to be on the priority cases, on the topmost, and keep on taking projects, keep on taking assignments, keep on taking to dos. Yet as the priority keeps on changing, we forget that the thing that we picked up on the first hand, that was priority one, and when something popped up which is more on the higher scale of priority, we tend to work on that. So what is happening is, we have worked on one assignment, we have worked a fraction on the second assignment, we have worked some part on the third assignment, but none of the assignments are complete. So when time comes for result, none of the projects or assignments or the work that we have taken up is complete. It is not going to yield the result which it would have yielded if the project or the assignment or the task was completed within the stipulated time frame. I always talk about SMART goals, and in SMART goals I mentioned T stands for time frame. Whenever we are setting up a goal, whenever we are setting up a task, we have to attach a timeline to it, because we need to understand the priority will keep on changing with the timeline. And when it changes, it has a habit of snowballing the whole effect. The slightly priority cases, when procrastinated over the time, gets into a higher priority cases, and maybe sometimes it gets completely out of our control. So what is it that keeps the result from not being delivered? The first thing Satish said is, Sanjay, you need to learn, you need to practice, and you need to make it a habit to end anything that you have started. It doesn't matter about only work. Many a times we feel that we need to call up that friend of ours, we need to call that relative of ours, or we may need to call that colleague of ours, and thank them for what they have done, what the favor they have returned, and so on. But at the day end, or at the end of the week, or even of the month, these things never gets done. The main thing is, it is always put as a secondary, because there is always something popping up in the primary factor. So honestly speaking, how do we complete what we started? Its question might appear stupid, and as the answer is always like, we always do complete what we start. But the thing is, I mentioned, when you are completing a stipulated task, or an anticipated task, or a task in hand, within the time frame within which the result or the outcome of that task, when completed within the time frame, will yield better result. So when you are heading that team, when you are heading that department, when you are heading that group of subordinates, you need to be very, very careful not to fall in the dirty trap of procrastination. How to do that? How do we make it a habit? Well, I asked Satish, like, Satish, could you just tell me how to work on that? Because, when we are working on the escalation desk, a lot of things, everything that comes to our desk is escalation. Now, if we go by the judgment of the customer's verbal abuse, or the way he was or she was shouting, and we say, oh, this customer was pretty irate, and the customer was pretty angry, so let's work on this, let's keep the things in hand, outside, and let's work on this. Trust me, the things that we are putting outside, the things that we are putting for to be done tomorrow or day after tomorrow, well, that customer who was not really irate, who just reported the case, that many a times we have found that it actually erupted as escalation which was beyond our control. The managers had to be put on on the loop, the head of the department had to be put on the loop, and it took a lot of other people's persuasion, input, and support to get that case resolved. But on the first hand, it could have been avoided, it could have been resolved, if I would not have put it aside, if I would have not put it like, oh, this can be worked upon tomorrow, and that tomorrow never comes up. So Satish said, Sanjay, the first thing to get job done, right? Because Satish was some person who always was successful in ending up things, successfully. Any project that was handed over, that's the reason, in HP management also, the typically escalated cases, the typically complex cases were handed over to him, because they knew Satish could deliver. And how he could deliver? He could only deliver successfully. Now, what is the success mantra, or the secret recipe behind it? And Satish said, Sanjay, I'm going to share it with you openly, right? I mean, there is no secret behind it. The simple thing is, when you come to office, when you are working on anything, the first thing, you take 5 minutes. You sit on your place, okay? Before you start your shift, before you start taking calls, before you start writing that email or working with a client, take just 5 minutes, okay? In a piece of paper or in a diary, write down what was pending yesterday. what all things you needed to do. Maybe that client needed to be called, maybe that client needed to be sent a survey form, maybe another client needed to be provided some steps which we have to follow up today with the R&D department, get a solution and get back. So put down all those things that were incomplete yesterday. Okay, today's work anyway you have to do. Okay, don't write today's work as yesterday's work. Yesterday's work is not your today's work. The first thing you need to understand is today the escalations, the mails, the client calls and everything would be there. Then it would be a new set of escalations, it would be a new set of client interactions and so on. This you will actually have to do in your 8 hour of shift. In if you are taking 6.5 hours to do that, put 1 hour in your shift today to complete the things which were incomplete yesterday. Because that survey form, if you send today, you might get a customer satisfaction CSAT report, you might get that customer good feedback, and it might increase your good score in the quality parameters. If the customer is waiting for the steps to be provided by the HP engineer, today if you send a mail stating all the steps, stating that we are here, these are the steps which has been recommended by the reward and the uh, research and development department, it would be a really really rewarding solution to the customer, because you see the customer is waiting, he or she is patient enough not to shout at you, not to escalate it to a top escalation cell. So when you send that mail with the steps to perform, not only the customer feels that you are working on this. See, everybody wants loves a customized feeling. Like, wouldn't you like it when you walk into that restaurant that you frequent, and the waiter, head waiter or the manager calls up and says, hey Sanjay, like, I would feel really great if somebody recognizes me from the desk and says, hey Sanjay sir, very good evening, how are you today? See, we want to be identified with our name, because that makes us feel good, like, okay, he knows me, he knows my preferences, and I'm special to them. This is very human psychology. It's not like everybody is pompous, everybody wants is or seeking a spotlight. But the thing is, being recognized or being identified by somebody breaks that ice, wherein you are not trying to be known or related to that brand or that company or somewhere. When you feel that you are special to them, like, let's say when the manager says, oh, good evening sir, so how are you doing today, and how are the kids, so you feel immediately connected, you feel immediately happy. That feel good factor many a times makes the customer give a very positive feedback about the product, about the service and so on. So this is all about customer relationship building. And so the main thing is, when you send that mail, the customer feels that he's so special, that you literally have worked since the last call or the last email, and you have found out the solution and you're getting back to them. So they feel very personalized, touched, they feel very comfortable, they feel very connected with the product, with you, and they depend on you, and they become your loyal customers. See, this is wonderful chemistry or the life cycle of customer and product management. So Satish said, like, you write down what was not done yesterday and put all those points as the priority that you faced yesterday, because yesterday's scenario you will remember. Okay, some step could be waiting for half an hour or 1 hour, while that other customer is waiting for the other steps or that call or that survey form, and they might have to go for a meeting, they might have to go for shopping or whatsoever in their personal errands. And when you make it a priority, like, sir, I just logged into my system, I just started my shift, and So hopefully you're doing great, and we've been working on this issue yesterday, and I really appreciate you taking out the time to let me work on this. Well, the good news is we have the steps. So is it the right time to work on it? If not, I have already emailed you the steps. Maybe you can perform those at your convenient time. And if you face any problem, you know who to call. I'm there. So see, that really builds up a strong connection of the customer with the brand. That gives a really positive drive towards the customer from that brand, and he or she becomes that loyal customer for years. The second point that Satish mentioned is, Sanjay, you have written all the things that were not done, that was incomplete yesterday. But writing it down is not going to get it done. So you need to plan to get those things done. Because when you have written on this piece of paper, on the diary, you need to literally find out when you will work on those, because today's work anyway would start piling up. Today's escalation calls, emails, and everything would start piling up. So when would you work, and how would you work on that? So you need to plan accordingly, because if you are, let's say, if you are not getting that many escalated calls now, and it's primarily all through chat or through email, maybe that is the time when you can give that call which was pending yesterday, and you can talk to the customer for 5 minutes. You need to put a you need to put a check on that also. You can talk for the customer for 5 minutes, and you can explain what's going on, what you have tried, and what's happening at your end. If the solution is not ready also, you can mention to the client that so we worked on that, and well, I have escalated it to the next department. They're working on it. I just give a call to let you know that we are working on this, and we are on this. So we would require some more time, and why not I get back to you tomorrow with what we have in hand and what the steps the other department suggests. See, when you are constantly in connection with the client, even if you are not able to provide a solution even for 7 days or 10 days also, the client knows that you are not just sleeping over it. You are on it, you are working on it, you are taking the necessary steps, you are sharing the updates, you are sharing the advancements as and when it's happening, and you are putting the client informed. So that is very important. That is very primary in terms of customer relationship management. And planning to do the things that are left over or unfinished or pending is very important, because you need to plan accordingly to your daily workload also. You cannot be working, as I mentioned, you cannot be working only on yesterday's pending cases, keeping aside today's escalations or today's email or today's call. You cannot, because then again today's work gets piled up, and it gets carried forward to the next day and so on. So what is basically is happening is it will create more procrastination, it will create more work stress, it will create more work burden, and then you will find yourself in a absolutely in a messy condition, wherein you do not know where to start, what to start, who to get back to, and what was the priority cases. So that is going to be more confusing, that is going to be more stressful for you. So Satish mentioned that once you have written down what needs to be done, you need to put a time frame also, like, okay, I need to work on this time, when I'm going to work on this, when I'm going to send that email, when I'm going to call the client, and so on. When you plan on that, you literally hardware or program your brain to think that, well, you see, today's work is there already, I need to work on those pending cases, I need to be better hurried up, I need to be better alert, active, and let me work on it faster. So the thing is, things gets moving, things gets into the drive, you are in a momentum, you start working on those. And as and when I have noticed it, as per his advice, when I applied it in my work procedure, that as and when each task gets completed, each pending task gets completed, and you get good vibes and good feedback, Well, it really, really boosts up your confidence. Unless you put it in a practice, you wouldn't be able to understand. The thing is, you literally start feeling very positive. You start feeling very, I would say, confident that, well, I got those cases solved. The customer is happy. The customer did get the survey form. He has sent me a CSAT report. And you see, you start contributing. You start being in the process, being in the flow. So what is it doing is it is actually motivating you towards greater challenges, towards working harder, towards contributing, towards learning, and towards a better mental health, work-life balance. So when you are writing it down, you need to also plan when to do it and how to do it. That's how you ensure that things gets done. Third, I asked, like, sir, like, I've written it down, I have planned it, and now what? Then he said that make it a habit. It's not that this is a 1 week incident which is going to happen with you. This is not a 1 week phenomenon which is going to happen with you. This is not a 1 week challenge that it has popped up into your life. If a challenge or if a problem like this pops up into your life, it means that you already are into the dirty habit of procrastination. So you literally have to make it a habit. Even if it is like, there is only one case pending from yesterday, you need to put it on the diary. You need to plan accordingly. And it's not that only when 10 cases are pending, there is so much to do, and you feel like, okay, I'll be doing so much. You don't have to do that. So the thing is, you have to literally make it a habit of planning to do what was pending from the other day. So even if there is nothing, no pending work, Satish said, Sanjay, why don't you take this opportunity to call up that client to whom you already provided the solution, and they never wrote back. They never wrote back. Sorry about that, guys. They never wrote back, or they never sent the survey form. Why not you give a call to them? It's just a good gesture call. And you call them up and you say, like, hey, we worked on this issue, you remember, and I'm calling to see how things are at your end, sir. Everything, or ma'am, everything is working fine. Is there anything else that you need help with? You can always come back to the HV chat support or email support and pen down your problem, and we would be available to you to work on the issues reported. So you see that builds up a lot of customer relationship, and it's when I put it in practice for almost like 3 to 4 months. Initially, let me tell you, it was very difficult because we always get carried away, like when there is no things pending, and there is no calls or there is no mails. That was very rare in HP. But the thing is, sometimes we get carried away. Sometimes we start doing a chit chat, and sometimes we do an internal communication. But the thing is, when I made it a habit, like for Satish, he mentioned that he works every Saturday. He has a similar diary at his home wherein he puts the same practice in his personal life. Like if he needs to call up his mother-in-law, if he needs to call up his uncle, if he needs to call up his family friends and so on, if he needs to share some feedback with the doctor, whatsoever, he did put it in practice in his personal life also. So see, the thing is, the result is he always had that honestly speaking, that very, very casual, relaxed kind of approach towards life. He was never stressed out. I mean, the weekdays also, he appeared like he has come from his week offs and so on, and he was like always bubbling with energy. He was always talking to everybody, playing TT, and he was into everything. So that was the success of his absolute work-life balance. And that he mentioned that, Sanjay, make it a habit. It was difficult for me initially, I must agree. It was difficult for me because you get carried away sometimes. You get into the habit of procrastination sometimes. But when I did it, like, because he took it, one of the to dos in his diary became like, is Sanjay working on that? So every day he used to say, like, hey Sanjay, you're doing that, right? So that was like a visual alert, that was like a verbal alert. And for 4 months, when I did put this into practice, of writing down what was pending from the last day, making it a plan to work on those, and converting it into a habit, like turning it out into a habit of doing this good gesture calls also. You wouldn't believe my quality scores increased, my CSAT scores became better. I was literally appreciated by customers through emails, and there were incidents where you wouldn't believe when the calls when anybody calls, any customer calls up HP number 1-800 HP 1-800, the 1-800 number of HP. The call actually goes to the call directors. The call directors are the ones who directs the calls as per the departments or the product that you're using. And when they receive this call, you wouldn't believe, a lot of customer actually took my name and said that, hey, the other day, this guy having this employee ID literally helped me a lot, and I better be connected to this guy. The call directors couldn't do something like that. Then they said, like, every engineer is capable of solving this problem. I'm sure that you will be happy with the kind of service that we provide. But many a times it so happened, even when the call landed up into our floor, into our department, the customer used to call up these engineers and used to say, like, hey, is Sanjay around in the floor? Right. So that literally helped me build up a really good relationship. That literally helped me build up a lot of good factors, a lot good field factors, and it literally increased my scores. My work with HP became better, my performance became better, and so on. So guys, practice these steps, and I'm sure that you will see good results in the coming days also, and you will be able to end up the things which you start much better. So as I always mention, it's much easier to start something, much difficult to end something. So with these three practices, I'm sure that you will be able to do much better into your professional life, into your personal life also. So wishing you all the best. Take care of yourself. Stay home, stay safe. And let me wind up this morning vibe session with Career Counseling Online. And wishing all the best, all the good health. Take care, guys. Bye-bye.